right, Trevor, I am excited to have you here this morning. How are you doing this morning?
I'm good, but I just got to get the elephant out of the room. I didn't just come back from vacation. This is windburn from golfing. So I mean, I was somewhere nice, but I wasn't on a tropical vacation. So now we've got that covered.
I was going to say, Trevor, you had me that you weren't on a vacation, then you threw the golf out there, and my empathy immediately fell through the floor. I get it though. It's beautiful weather. The sun is out. The summer's here. It feels so good. But we are live here with Trevor Thomas from the CanIT Collective. I'm super excited for this conversation. I always like to say Canada is kind of my second home after spending a 3-year stint up in Toronto. I don't say the T. That's how you know I've been there long enough. Up in Toronto with the Avikians. I spent a lot of time up in Canada and love the place as a Midwesterner. So,
but not in the winter, right?
Huh?
But not in the winter, right?
Not in the winter, though. Indiana winters aren't that great anyway. They're all gray and dreary as well. So it's all about the same. But quick question for the audience, if you're in the stream here with us, who here has heard of CANIT CON or registered or have been to CANIT CON? So if you've ever been, heard about it, or registered for it, drop a note. If you're thinking about it this year, ask Trevor why you should go. Ask Trevor whatever the heck you want. I'll filter the questions that aren't appropriate, but keep them rolling. So, good morning, Brett. As always, wonderful to see you here this morning. Brett, I don't think are you gonna make it up to CanIT Con? It's up in Calgary. It's a bit of a haul for you, but maybe after today's show, you'll be interested. Trevor, I love to always start this show off with a real simple introduction. You know, I don't often get the time to get to know people as in depth. So I like to hear their 3 to 5 minute story. I don't want your elevator pitch. I don't want your CanIT Con story. I want to know the Trevor story. So why don't you kick us off with the Trevor story?
All right, 3 to 5 minutes. So it all started when I was 6. No.
Yep.
So I've been in the sales world for about 20 years. I've always liked connecting with people, the high energy, actually focusing on what they need. And I think that's why I was so effective early on in my sales days. From there, about 12 years ago now, I got into SaaS. And the idea of technology has always interested me, taking apart the VCR and failing to put it back together and those kinds of things and getting yelled at. But technology is just one of those exponential growth curves that's exciting to be a part of. So join a SaaS company. I was like, this is really fun. I joined the MSP space about 8 years ago. And it's just such a different area, right? It's still tech adjacent or very tech forward, but then you bring in the fact that these MSPs are actually trying to solve real business problems for people. Because, take my mom, for instance, she calls me for password resets, right? She's clueless. And that's maybe not the vast majority of the population now, but a good chunk of it, right? So these MSPs are going out there and saying, okay, you can't do this. I can help you, and trying to make them understand how important technology is for their business. And especially now with, obviously AI coming into the mix so heavily now. And yeah, I love the space. My partner's been in the MSP space for a bit longer. And yeah, I was just like, this is such an interesting place. And it's very, very niche and very tight knit, right? I find that a lot of MSPs are happy to send the elevator back down. They're very passionate about what they do, but they're also very generous with their knowledge and their time of saying, oh, I experienced that issue 5 years ago. Here's how I overcame it. And here's the challenges I've experienced in that time with that same problem, right? And then if we go back about 3 years, CanIT, 3.5 years, CanIT was launching their first event in Banff, which is about an hour and a half from Calgary. And I was like, you're launching something that doesn't really exist in this capacity in Canada. It's very Canadian centric. So I jumped at the bit to be involved in any capacity. I think the first kind of interaction I had with Carrie and the team there was helping them with their prospectus, saying, hey, I'm doing a bunch of events, because the company I was at the time was sponsoring a bunch of events. So I was looking at their prospectus going, no, this shouldn't be in there. This should be in there, right? They sent me a very nice welcome, thank you gift, which I did not expect. I was like, I gave you, 2 hours of my time. I don't expect anything for that. But it just kind of set the stage for the level of care and compassion that existed in the company already at that point. And this was just a passion project when they launched, right? And from there, I was like, I want to be more involved. How can I be more involved? and got involved as like the vendor relations manager as a volunteer for a couple of years. And about 8 months ago, I went full time, and now we're here. So yeah, it didn't start when I was 6. It started about 20 years ago.
I love it. I love it, Trevor. May I say how very nice and Canadian of Carrie to send a thank you gift for the time. I love Carrie. She's one of my favorite people. And so I say that in the most complimentary of fashions. It clearly sounds like it's a passion driven organization. And I think a lot of people probably know about CanITCon. Maybe give me a quick rundown on the collective. What is the collective? How does it run and operate year to year? And if you're up in Canada or up in Calgary, where I know the event's going to be this year, like how do you get involved with the organization?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that you'll be familiar with the Canadian market, more intimately than a lot of people. But I think if you're in the US market, you look at the US market as the primary market, which is fair. It's 10 times the size of Canada, right? If I put my vendor hat back on, if I'm looking to go after a market, it's going to be the US because it's 10 times larger than Canada, right? You've got better saturation, more GDP flowing through. But there didn't exist a community in Canada that was Canadian focused. And we have different challenges, right? We're so regionally disparate. The closest big city to me is a 3-hour drive, right? And that big city is only 1 million people, right? You don't have the population density. So it brings in this new set of challenges, right? So last year at CanITCon, Carrie announced that we were launching the CanIT Collective. Now it's a couple different pieces. One is we're still going to be doing CanITCon, right? We want to make it the best Canadian event. The kind of our motto is meet, learn, grow, right? There's the networking, there's learning from your peers, there's learning from the vendors, there's learning from keynotes, and then grow, because obviously that's an aspiration for a lot of these companies out there. Now, the other part we launched was our on tour events, it's a 1-day regional event, because a lot of these cities don't get, something specific for them, right? Edmonton being a great example. It's Edmonton, it's roughly 1 million people. They don't get a lot of people coming out there, right? It's not the size of Pittsburgh or LA. There's not an event. If you look at the US market, there's an event almost every day that you can go to, right? There's a couple calendars out there and you look and it's stacked every day. You want virtual, you want in person, you can go to something every day.
Yeah.
Right. In Canada, there was CanITCon and then a handful of other events spread throughout the year, totaling about 5. Right. So if we look at kind of let's go the 10-to-1 ratio again, and let's call it, it's more than this, but let's say there's 365 events in the US. Well, we should have 36 and a half in Canada, not 5.
Yeah.
Right. So the regional events were part of that, growing that ability for people to get out and learn from their peers and network and really kind of take their business into overdrive.
I love it. Give me a rundown. Do you have it off the top of your head where you're headed on this tour?
So last year we did Edmonton, Toronto, and Vancouver.
Love it.
This year, and Carrie, don't yell at me for this, we're adding 3 more cities, Halifax, Ottawa, and Winnipeg.
See, and I was hoping we'd go to Quebec because I had never made it there during my whole journey and time at Quebec. I kept hearing how beautiful and wonderful it is.
It is beautiful. Carrie did an event with one of our partners there last month, I want to say, and I think we're talking about doing some. It's a different market to get into, right? So right. But it's a great market. They've got some different government regulations that really push if you look at Canada as a whole, the government's just kind of like, cybersecurity, you should do it. We've got some stuff that you should look, but there's no NIST, there's none of these frameworks that are pushed from the top down. Even at the government level, it's kind of lacking, right? So Quebec's an interesting market in that on that front. So maybe you'll see us there next year. We'll see.
Or Niagara on the Lake. That's pretty beautiful too. Of course. I mean, who wouldn't want to go there?
I've been 3 times, so I get it.
I was going to say, I'm just going to keep adding stops to your tour if we don't move forward here. So
I guess we're doing 10 stops next year.
I know, right? Yeah. Make it happen. So look, I'm excited to talk. It sounds like the CanIT Collective is really on a mission. I love the meet, learn, grow mantra. And I think especially with the gap that's up in Canada for events and for centralized knowledge and bringing people together in the industry, it's a tremendous cause and a tremendous effort. And so kudos to the organization. What I want to talk about next is a little bit, we said CanITCon 2026. Why this conference and why now? why should people look at this when there is a stack of conferences all across? I know those calendars you're talking about, all across the globe and all across the North America. What separates CanITCon out from everybody else?
Well, I think two pieces of feedback come to mind. Last year, I was standing there talking to one of my favorite vendors. I'm not going to plug any vendors. We're agnostic. We're agnostic. I mean, that is one of the reasons that I think people really enjoy our conferences. Obviously, we have wonderful sponsors that come up. They make the event happen. But we don't say, hey, we're hitching our wagon to this vendor, right? So we are agnostic. That's one of them. Another one is it's in Canada. You get this very Canadian interconnected vibe, right? I'm not shaming anyone or anything. It's just, it is very Canadian, right? We lean into the fact that we're Canadian only, right? The big maple leaf, all that stuff.
I love it.
Right. The other part is, again, we do have great sponsors and keynotes. We try to bring out diverse keynotes. Maybe you're going to be there this year on September 11th in the morning as a keynote. Maybe, right?
Maybe.
But like, we also try to bring in thought leaders for different stuff, but like neurodivergency, some EQ stuff that's not talked about enough, right? So we're trying to provide that diverse palette of content so that people really get a good mix and think about things that maybe it's holding them back, but they don't even think about it, right?
I love it.
And again, the fact that it's in Canada, it's cheaper to travel to Calgary than it is to. Our dollar has not been great since I went to Vegas in 2014, so for quite a while.
I will say it is always shocking to see the translation when you convert on the other side. Apparently, so from the audience here, I missed this one. Tim apparently saw a ghost on Niagara on the Lake. I don't know if there's something there. Maybe we have a conference, like a ghost themed conference. And then Brett, we've heard about it, but we're not going to go. Maybe we'll have to talk about that one. But that's okay. That's all right. I understand. Calgary for us is a bit of a haul too up in Indiana. But I want to get people encouraged to come out. With AI reshaping the channel, what makes this year's event different than all the others? I know how many years has CanITCon been going on?
This will be year 4.
That's what I thought. Yeah, year 4. So year 4, if I go back and I put my hat on from 4 years ago, we were talking about cybersecurity. We were talking about risk. We were talking about, EDR, MDR, and attacks on the external attack surface. Now we're not talking about that, but we're also talking about AI. So with it shaping the channel, is CanITCon going to be talking about AI? I got kind of a layup for you, Trevor, but I don't know. Let's hear it.
Well, I mean, yes, obviously you're going to be there, right? And I feel, aside from that, it's shifting how, I don't want to say everyone, because there are people who are in different spaces where, yes, AI is impacting their day-to-day, but the roots of what they're talking about aren't changing all that much. It's not driving, it's not hitting that exponential growth curve on that, right? NIST is still NIST. AI is not going to change NIST necessarily. It might change some of the regulations behind it or the frameworks, but it's not going to completely dismantle it, right? Whereas other industries, they're coming out and they're now talking about how AI can actually impact your business on the bottom line, right? We've got instead of MSPs and MSSPs, we've got managed intelligence providers. We're going, okay, I use Copilot, right? And I'm like, I'm so smart. Look at this. I can ask a question and I can do 2 hours of work in 5 minutes. Well, sure. But with AI, there's ways that you can reshape your entire cybersecurity framework and, still do that 2 hours in 5 minutes, except for make it more robust. Right. And that applies to a lot of the keynotes that we have. A lot of our sponsors are kind of pivoting to that. And I think we're seeing more maturity on those conversations where it was, hey, we have AI, and you think of your Instagrams or your Facebooks or everything. There's AI in there. Ask us a question. And it's just a chatbot. Yeah. Well, a couple of years ago, that's all it was to most people. It was an LLM where you could ask it a question and it would comb through everything and hopefully not hallucinate an answer. Right. Whereas now it's tangible results based on AI, playbooks and workflows and all. Right. So it's changing how they're doing. I don't know how we're going to change things. Right. I don't know that AI is going to change our events so much. Again, it does make us faster in our planning, and it's two of us doing this full time. So the AI backdoor stuff is great for us.
Love it. I think there is a lot of opportunity for it. Ashley jumped in. It does sound like a great community conference. I said this quietly, but it is my first one this year. I've never been, and I admit it has always been on my list, but I never got approval. We had far too many people already in the local region to go to send somebody across the border. So I'm very excited to make the trip this year.
No judgment.
And you can also like blindfold me and throw me in the Toronto airport and I can make my way around. So I'm pretty good on that. Desiree says, until Copilot deletes everything you were doing because you didn't know to ask it to save everything as you go and not just once a day, from the Friends experience. I have been there. Trevor, it looks like you've been there. I saw the laugh. Is this an inside track?
So I kind of, Desiree and I have the same last name. She's in the office right there. So I may have heard of this story yesterday.
I did not connect the dots. That's really funny. I had no idea. She's wonderful. I didn't know this. I'm learning something very new online right here.
And no one knows it until we tell people. And then as soon as we tell people, they're like, that makes so much sense. You both have tattoos. You're both like these like wild personalities. So yeah.
I'm kind of shocked, but with the show must go on, I still have another 15 minutes to go here. So let's talk about what's on the agenda. It sounds like you have a pretty good calendar lined up. It's in September. Is it nailed down? Do you know what what you're looking at and what we're going to see out there? And what do you have some tracks on the show? And can you share some intel?
Yeah, so I can share intel. So if we go back to year one, it was still 2 days. It was, I think we had 100 MSPs or something like that and 17 or 18 vendors. This year we're shooting to have like 400 people total.
Okay.
Right? Roughly
Wow,
250 MSPs. One of the biggest changes this year is, so year one, we did it in Banff in a conference center. The conference center was lovely. The hotel was dated, but I mean, it was in Banff. It was gorgeous.
Yeah.
The last 2 years we did in Kelowna, again, in a hotel conference center. We outgrew it. So this year we are going to the TELUS Convention Center, which is gigantic. It is a true on conference center. Lovely hotel attached to it, lots of sunlight. It's just a really pretty venue, right? So that's one big change for this year. The other thing is last year we did a pre-day and we had Juan and Matt running sessions for the pre-day. Oh, and Mark Koopman.
That's an amazing lineup. Yeah.
Right. This year, Acronis is doing a full pre-day. Right. So last year it was a couple sessions. This year it's going to be a full pre-day on the 9th. So, shameless plug for Acronis there.
Am I going to get to see my buddy James up there? Is James Abercrombie making the flight?
I love him every year, and I'm going to ping him as soon. I'll shoot him a message on WhatsApp.
I'm going to tag him. I'm going to tag him right now. Are you coming? Let's see. All right, we just had to throw that out there. We're gonna just summon James Abercrombie to the live stream. So go ahead. Sorry. There's an Acronis pre-day. Keep going though.
And then we kick things off with the welcome reception. We've got tons of great content. We've brought in, I think, 7 guest speakers. Again, you being one of them. We're bringing Juan Fernandez back because I think he's been with us every year. Matt Lee again because he's great. Jillian McKenzie's been with us for every year, and she joined us for our on tour. She's very much get out of your own brain, and here's how you do that, right? We've got a neurodivergency session. So, I mean, as far as the tracks are concerned, we've looked at it, and it's kind of hard to put some of our vendors into buckets, and we don't necessarily want to force that. We encourage thought leadership, right? Yeah. Last thing that anyone wants to do when they go to a conference is sit there and be pitched to for 40 minutes at a time.
Of course.
Right? So we don't want to put people into a box and say, okay, you're cybersecurity, you have to talk about cybersecurity, right? If you want to do a long sweeping story about something that impacted your business and maybe cybersecurity ties into it, that's great. We don't want to put people into boxes. Will we do it down the road? Potentially, right? But again, it's, if you're looking at these giant conferences where they've got 10 breakouts and you're looking at, okay, you've got to have a track for AI and for cybersecurity and for your techs, will we get there? Maybe, but for right now, we try to keep it fairly flexible for that side of things, and let people take their own adventure.
Yeah, and Desiree in the chat here said, even though it isn't in Banff, you should take a couple of days in Banff. I want to take us down a little side rabbit hole and bring us back to the story. Yeah. Just got back from the wonderful city of Salt Lake City. Beautiful mountain ranges all around. I've never been to Calgary. I imagine it's quite a beautiful location. Any pro tips for people joining out there? Also, I tried to summon Juan and Matt. We'll see if they show up. any quick, just 2-minute sidetrack. Any pro tips for people coming out there to Calgary?
Pro tips: if you're going to go to Banff, book ahead.
Okay.
You can get transportation from the city. Driving out there is absolutely stunning drive. Right? Think of driving through the foothills and then getting to the point where you're just in between two giant mountains, and it's stunning. But you can get a shuttle or something like that. My pro tip, and this is going to be a bit controversial, is don't go to Banff, go to Canmore. It's less busy and it's cheaper.
Okay, I like it.
And one last pro tip: if it's larching season, so where all the trees are changing color, maybe then you rent a car and you go the back way. Hit me up, I'll give you the directions. We took a guy from New Zealand through there, and he was stunned. It's just, beautiful yellow and orange and red leaves just falling down all around you, and it's quite the spectacle.
I hear that it sounds like you should really make it an experience if you're coming out to CanITCon.
Yes.
It sounds like it's just right there in the wheelhouse. And I'm going to keep you out of the doghouse here. Also, another pro tip: baked goods. I hear Desiree will be bringing baked goods to the show. So this is fun. I told you, Trevor, 60 episodes. We always have fun on the show. And Tim said he'd bring his wife. I know, that's why I can't go to Banff. I have been trying to get a snowboarding trip going along with Lauren for a while. So, all right, back to the track. Track. It's you said it was 2 days previously. This is a 3-day show. Is that correct?
Yeah. So Cronus has a full pre-day, and then we've got our welcome reception. Then 2 full days. So on the Thursday, it starts at 8. Do your breakfast, full day of sessions, followed by a happy hour. And then there's a VIP party after that for the VIPs. And then the Friday, we are doing it a little bit differently. I mean, it's the Friday is the same as far as breakfast and sessions are concerned, but we're actually doing our closing party on site, which we haven't done before, and we're really excited about. We had previously done it at we did it at a distillery, and then we did it at this place called B&A Brewery, which has bowling and lawn bowling and an arcade and karaoke. I definitely didn't do karaoke. Don't ask anyone for videos of it. But having the closing party in-house, we're really hoping to provide this unique experience at least for us. I don't think it's going to be beyond. I promise you, we don't have Ludacris, we don't have 50 Cent, but it's going to be a great time.
Of course. I will say there are, I do the gamut of shows, and I honestly tend to love these ones. The ones where by the end of the show, you tend to know most of the people that are walking around. Yeah. You're not walking into a sea of people that you're never going to see again. And so, as Ashley said earlier, it feels like it's going to be a great community conference, and that's why I'm personally excited to go. If you're a first timer ever coming to CanITCon, anything that they should expect or anything that they should plan for? Because like you said, there's not many events up in Canada. And so maybe this is their first MSP conference ever. So give them a quick rundown on what to expect and how to plan to make sure they get the most out of the show.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you've been to a conference, I don't want to say it's run of the mill, but it does operate similar to other conferences. The one thing that I will say, and you just hit the nail on the head that sets it apart, is it is smaller. It is intimate. The first year we went, I was a vendor, right? I did help with prospectus a bit, but I was a vendor. And you're looking at it going, well, there's only like 90 MSPs here. How I talked to every single one. I think my lead capture on that was like 90%.
Yeah.
And because of that, you see the same people over and over again. You're able to build the relationships. So if you're a first time coming as an MSP, I would say lean into the networking, right? There are some of the largest MSPs. Our entire advisory board is coming, and they're from across Canada. And they vary from small MSPs to almost 100-person MSPs, right? Okay. So the wealth of knowledge that's there, and again, the generosity of time with that knowledge, it's insurmountable. It's huge.
Help me help convince some of the MSPs that either are going to read this on the newsletter, see this on their feed, and jump in. I'm a service desk manager. I'm a help desk technician. I'm a account executive at MSP, and I want to come to CanITCon. Yep. How do I prove the ROI of my travel, my trip, my budget, my ticket? Like, what is it that I'm going to get out that when I come back to my leadership, I'm going to bring home?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So while we don't have tracks, we do have 4 breakout sessions running concurrently.
Okay.
Right. So there is everything from the technical aspect to the sales aspect to the marketing aspect. We actually brought in someone for just marketing. We brought in someone for just sales. And both the marketing and the sales aspects there aren't your run of the mill. These are 2 people who, with decades of knowledge in this space, who really know what they're talking about. So if you're in that space, it's really easy for you to go, hey, if I attend this one session, the ROI is going to be there just from that one session.
Love
right?
That.
And then you throw in all the fun you're going to have, and it's a no-brainer.
I love it. Yeah, I do love to hear that there's a technical and a marketing and a sales track, because I think that widens the audience. And if you're listening and you go, well, maybe an MSP conference is all going to be about, risk and attack surface, and it's all going to be about, help desk and automation and all this. It sounds like it's going to be a little bit of something for anybody. And no matter what the role is, if you're an MSP, it sounds like it's a great fit for you if you're thinking about CanITCon.
Especially if you wear all the hats as like a founder operator. Yeah, then there's really something for you.
Look at that, Brett. I love it. Already pushing. I'm going to try to get Brett to go. We're planting this seed right here. So look, we have just a handful of minutes left for the show. I always like to try to wrap it up by 9:30, 9:35 or so. So we're going to roll into the last 2 segments. Or I always forget this last question. It's always the stump. So we have 3 segments. Before I get into the ending wrap up, Trevor, what didn't I ask today that you expected us to talk about that you want to talk about real quick?
I don't know. I think we mostly covered it off. I think one part that I really have to shout out is that, I am not the visionary here. I am someone who saw Carrie's dreams of what she wanted to achieve and the community she wanted to build, and just believed in it so much that I had to be part of it, right? But Carrie is certainly the driving factor here. Carrie Green, if for anyone out there, connect with her on LinkedIn. She's a great person. But I'm a follower, not a leader in this situation, and I'm more than happy to be that.
Oh, wrong click. There we go. So yeah. I'm with you. Carrie's a wonderful human being. We share a lot of overlap with GTIA, of course. Yeah. And so super excited. I do recommend reaching out to her. Is there going to be something around customer success out there at CanITCon?
I would assume there will be a couple of the session suggestions, because again, I can tell our sponsors, here's the things, but customer success and MDF are always requested. Marketing development funds for anyone who's not in the know. So I'll be, asking a couple of our sponsors to specifically speak on that. So hopefully, yes.
It's great input though, and a great call out here. If there is an opportunity for customer success, sounds like might be the reason to pull Brett in. All right, the roundup segments are pretty simple. We're going to go into the rapid fire wrap up. I call them espresso shots. It's really simple. There's 2 rules. You have as much time as you want to think about the answer, but you only get 1 sentence to answer the question. I know it makes it so hard, but it's still so fun, Trevor. So one thing every attendee should do on day number 1.
Talk to at least 5 new people for every 1 drink you have at the welcome reception.
I like the ratio. I love this. I think we should track that ratio. I wanted to give Desiree's comment and call out here. The community of MSPs in Canada specifically works so hard to support each other. I love that. I think that is something that cannot be underscored. If you go to different conference events in the industry, maybe you've been to a Geek Con, or maybe you've been to a CanIT Collective, there is something special about those events and the way that you walk away. So I'll keep that up for a few minutes as we go through the wrap up, because I think it's just that important. 1 to 5 ratio, drink, meet. So there's 400 people. You do the math. No, I'm just kidding. All right. The best hallway conversation beats the best keynote. True or false?
This is going to be a run-on sentence. True, if you are more interested in No, just true.
Yeah, that's fine. I think both answers are accurate. It's just a matter of your perspective and the value you're trying to get.
Yeah, which is where I was going to go with a run-on sentence, right?
Yeah.
Like, I watched Malcolm Gladwell at Beyond a couple of years ago, and he's my favorite author. There was no hallway conversation that was beating that. Anyways, I digress.
I get it. I'm with you. Do you believe that AI sessions are going to dominate every channel event for the next 3 years?
More than 3 years.
More than 3 years. I like it. Look, you and I are lockstep. We agree on that one. All right. 2 last questions. One reason that an MSP should book the trip today.
Flight prices are going to go up.
You're not wrong. I already booked my flights for that reason. But now it's kind of in that sweet spot. You're like 3 months before. I'm a frugal person. Brett says, "Hey, Desiree." I say, "Hey, Desiree." I know Trevor said, "Hey, Desiree" already. So everybody say hi to Desiree this morning. Final question. Finish this sentence. You'll regret skipping CanITCon if ...
You don't go.
Well, that's easy. That's a freebie, isn't it? I suppose. That's a layup. Go ahead.
Can I change it to become?
No, I'll give you some semicolons and some periods, and you've done a great job keeping aligned with the rules so far.
So you'll regret not coming to CanITCon because you're going to miss out on some of the best local networking with your peers of all shapes and sizes, some fantastic sponsors with amazing sessions, and a keynote with John Harden on this Friday.
I get the people, I got to wake them up after they've had their 1-to-5 ratio for 2 days straight. That's all right. I'm good at bringing the energy, especially on a coffee fueled morning. But Trevor, you nailed it. If you're looking for community, if you're looking for local networking, if you're looking for great speakers, if you're looking to meet peers, it sounds like if you're in the technical track, the marketing track, or the sales track, and you like cheap flights, now is the time to book for CanITCon. So that's my shameless plug, Trevor. As we sign off the show, I always very much appreciate people like you taking your time out of the morning. I know you have a busy schedule. You've got a conference to plan. You've got golf to get to. You gave me 30 minutes this morning, so I want to give you 30 seconds to sign off the show with your shameless plug.
Yeah, I mean, CanITCon is a great conference. It has, again, going on 4 years. We grow at like 50% attendance every year. We're not trying to make this a giant conference. We're trying to make it still intimate, but bring more thought leaders in, bring more of your peers in. If you can't make the conference, we are doing on-tour events. Like I said, there's 6 coming up next year. They'll be on the website shortly, which is the CanITcollective.ca. And, if events just aren't your thing, join our Discord. We are trying to grow that community so that if you're in a regional spot or you just can't get away from your business, I understand it. There's dumpster fires. You can still connect with your peers about growth problems, about, the most recent conversation I was looking in there is about server prices, and how they went from like a $50,000 quote to a $90,000 quote, and how to get around that and find better pricing so that your clients aren't yelling at you. So we really do have something for everyone, and we're trying to build the most inclusive MSP community in Canada. That's mine.
I love it. I put those links in there. That came across terribly, but the links actually look good in LinkedIn. That is the Discord link for those who want to get involved in the Discord, and that is the company to follow on LinkedIn. So if you're looking to get involved and you don't think you can make it to the show, buy the ticket now. It's cheap. Convince your boss. It'll be worth the ROI. There's great marketing and sales tracks. Backup plan. Get in the Discord. Follow the CanIT Collective. Thanks so much, Trevor, for being on the show. Have a wonderful day, everybody, and thanks for joining us for a cup of coffee.